Hello, happy Thursday. Going back to something we did a while ago. I used to do quite a few demonstrations with this technique. It's similar to the charcoal technique with the glazes over the top of acrylic paint, but we don't use a lot of charcoal. We just draw the head with it, and then we use a pen, a waterproof pen if possible, because you don't want it running. I think I'm okay on the internet. I've got another box come up, but I don't know what it is. Anyway, there's 2 people watching, so that's okay. I'm sure you'll tell me if there's anything wrong. I'll keep checking. It should be fabulous now, what I'm paying for it. Anyway, the classes are going well. If you're still a bit scared, let me just say something about Tier 3. I've had a letter or a newsletter from the church, the Church of England, telling me all about the rooms and the tier system, yeah. And the churches are still open, okay. So people go along, and as long as the social distance and they're wearing masks and they've got gel and sanitizer and stuff like that, there is no problem. The churches are still open, and the church premises, the halls, any venues there inside the church are still open, but there has to be COVID safety measures. That's in Tier 3 as well. So for now, up to now, church and properties, anything owned by the church, are open, and people can go about whatever they do in these properties, yeah? Because they can have services in a room, in a hall. They don't have to be in the church, you know? So they've opened, and anybody who does any teaching there, which is what I do, you know, because it's my living, so I'm a professional tutor. So it is my income, so I can carry on with my classes as long as everybody's sat at least. We're not socialising, not sat around the table, you're not sat close together or stood close together talking. We do talk, but you have to talk loud across the room. And all the tables are at least 2 metres apart. And it's a big hall, the big hall, so we can get people in. Everybody's wearing a mask. You have to remind them. We've got the NHS QR system, so people can log in as they walk in the door. If not, I keep a register anyway to keep note of who's attending. We've got sanitizer, we've got cleaning fluids, dusters, everything to clean the tables when we put them out, and everything to clean the tables when we put them away. We only have 1 or 2 people putting the tables out and putting them away, so people can just leave at the end. Okay, what they do outside, stood on the car park, is up to them. They can chat or walk past each other, pretend they don't know each other. Entirely up to them. So that is COVID. That's Tier 3 on the handout we've been given from the Church of England. Actually. So other places like St Joseph's, I haven't heard a thing, and I'm actually thinking just trying to get the Friday class to join me at St Mary's if we carry on as we are, because it's a big hall, yeah. And Friday mornings are free, so that's why I'm doing these on a Thursday night, because I want to get people back if they can. I'm going to contact everybody. It'll take me a while because there's a few of you about the Friday class, okay? About me doing the classes at St Mary's in Lawrence. I mean, you're travelling from Lee, if you live in Lee, I'll say some of you it might be nearer. So anyway, we'll talk about that. So this is the technique, more or less. This is the lady we're going to paint today. We're using it as a reference, naturally. All right. So we draw the head. You have to have some kind of reference, okay? So although we throw paint at him later, that's why we call it Drippy. Yeah, it's quite a nice technique. Just be careful if you're painting in your living room or your kitchen, because when you start splattering, it goes everywhere. Alright, I've got things covered up. This is my room. So that kind of that's one I did kind of earlier. Yeah, and it's got some pastel on as well, that one. This is just acrylic. You can actually see the pen mark. So when you use the pen, after you've drawn it in charcoal, willow charcoal, because you have to rub it out. You can rub willow out. You can't rub the other compressed out. You you draw over the charcoal with a pen, a waterproof black pen, which is one of these, which is what we use in watercolour. Alright, it's Uniball, and it does say a Mitsu BC pencil core, and it also says black, and it also says waterproof and fade resistant. So it's good for sanding your paintings at the end and selling them. Yeah. Anyway, so that's the technique really, just using acrylic paint. You've used some white with it as well at the end, because a lot of the technique is actually using the gesso or the white gesso on the paper to give you the highlights and the transparency, as we would with a watercolour. So because it's acrylic, it's water based, so it's a water based medium, so that the more water you add, the thinner the washes. It's similar to that, so the girl with lots of flowers in her, I've done a few of these actually. And if you go too thick in places, you won't be able to rub out the colour, you know, so you have to be quite careful. I usually do around the head, more colourful and thicker pigment, and then let it run and blend, all sorts of things like that. But I keep saying I'll work back into some of these, but I'm not done yet. I've got another time. So the hair on this girl, and I know people have mentioned the freckles, which we can put in. You can splatter with a toothbrush or whatever, or a little brush. So we're going to put a lot of this colour around the head, and you put it in the face. So when you look at the face, the warmer colours probably will be on this side of the face, because that's where the light's coming from. Yeah, on there, yeah. And the cooler colours on this side of the face. So there's, we can have blues, alizarenes, greens if we're using it. I've got some purple today because I'm going to use some yellow and purple, which go nicely together, yeah. Purples and yellows. So we'll just see what happens. I never know how they're going to turn out. And if you do make a mistake, you can always, am I online? Anybody watching? Give us a thumbs up. Yeah. Nobody? Well, you must be watching, because nobody said they can't see anything. Thumbs up, thank you. I've just got a little box in the corner with me on it, the video, and I don't know why. Last time that happened, I was offline and it wasn't recording. Anyway, we'll see what happens. So as long as you can see it, and I'll keep checking, just let me know. It just might be another thing to keep adding to it. Good. Anyway, we're going to sketch the head. I've got willow charcoal, piece of willow. Right, I can see all the board. So yeah, you want to see the top of the board there, and we want to see. I'll just up this a bit because it's got an handle on it like that. You want to see the top of the board, because the head is going to be in this position, and I'm not too bothered about the neck and everything else. So you know, we're just going to sketch it out. She is central, and I will keep it quite light because I'm going to draw it in pen. All right. And I don't want to see the charcoal afterwards. You will see bits of it. But if I just draw the head and have it halfway like that, it's going to fill the picture plane. Because her hair is actually going off the top of the picture, yeah? So you just paint that space at the top. It's quite interesting. And it's the hair frames the face. Anyway, we always put the eyes halfway. If you look from the chin to her eyes, and then from her eyes to the top of the head, without her hair, yeah, is where, because that's where the fringe is going to be, is the halfway point. So we do that first. We just position a straight line. She isn't looking away. She's looking straight at you. Okay, straight at you. Lovely eyes she's got. We can make the eyes a feature. Everything else is just colour. You can have a good time. We put a socket in the middle. Yeah, not too wide. Just the same size near enough as these two, which are going to be where we put the eyeball or the pupil inside the eyeball. Okay, just keep that central. That line needs to be in the centre of the circle. And then here we've got smaller shapes, smaller circles that are actually going quite thin, because they're going around the side of the head. If you look at the distance from there to a temple, you're just seeing that kind of curly shape. But then you don't have to stick to the egg after that. We put the eye position in, which is pupil, right in the middle. and automatically she'll look straight at you. Just looking straight at you automatically. And then we're going to put the nose, the iris, because the easiest way of drawing eyes, if you put the eyeball in, cover it with skin, you get the iris, you can see at the front, which is a nice dark ring around the iris. Keep them the same size and keep the pupil looking in the same direction. And then we just put the top eyelid in there. Top eyelid's quite thick. It's not thick, it's just casts a shadow. We do a straight line there and a curve on the inside, actually, more or less. So from this point where the tear duct is, it's up, and then we curve around to the outside of your circle. Don't go too far past. Don't go outside the circle, and don't draw the bottom eyelid. The bottom eyelid comes from here. This line is where, if she had bags, she would have bags. But if you look at the top eyebrow, it starts there, and you can just see the thin strip of an eyelid like that, which we're going to draw because it's important. And then the distance between there and the eyebrow gives you that shape. Okay, we don't have to smudge this one, so I'm just putting it in, and then it goes away like that because it goes towards the temple, and I'll get rid of the lines afterwards. Alright, so a nose is usually halfway between the chin and the eyes. You can measure it with your fingers, just like that. That is where the nose sits on the face. If you look at the tip of a nose, where a white blob is, that's higher, okay? And then if you're trying to draw a wedge from there, that would give you the width of a nose, because the nostrils sit in that area, okay? Everything from the centre of your nose is a straight line. The mouth is right underneath, and then you can see the nostrils at each side. If you're a bit worried about the width, just drop a line down from a tear duct. You can see where the nostrils are going to be, which is there. Alright? The distance then of a philtrum is that shape between the nose and the top lip. So it's quite long on this lady, yeah, and we've got a nice angle. Don't worry about the chin. I know we measured things, but if you get too close to the chin after, you make the chin bigger. All we're doing, you're using the drawing to position the features. We do the top lip like that. Again, width of the mouth, drop a line down from the iris, more or less, and that's where the corners are. Same over here, yeah. Drop a line down. And the bottom lip is just 2. Don't put a line all the way along the top lip. Just let it disappear, because it disappears halfway. It goes into a different shade, tone of light. The middle muscle on the bottom lip is there. And we've got 2 muscles there. Then we get to the shadow, which is underneath the chin. Now, if you look at this distance, it's not long enough. So I'm going to take it down. Alright? It's as simple as that. Then I look at the hair. And like I said here, I've got the side of a head, which is like that. And I've got the shape of a hair and a forehead, which is something like that. So if we get to the side of the head, straight line, and it goes in to the jaw where the mouth is, and then we go that way, in that direction, okay? Because that is where your jaw is. You see? Just where the mouth finishes, on that line. Same over here. So I do the same thing here, only this time, a hair is creating the shadow. I have done this one before, in charcoal and acrylic, but I like the eyes on it, so that's why we're doing it, this technique. And we can make it really lovely. Look at the hair. Look at the shape the hair creates. You don't need to blacken this in, because we're going to rub it all out. And then from the corners of a mouth, from a jaw like that, we want it to be kind of equal, yeah? This is how you get symmetry. I mean, nobody's face is symmetrical, but if you can keep it that way, you get a beautiful portrait. And then from the neck on this side, we've got that lovely curve, and then it just disappears. And then the neck on this side is further in. It's near the corner of her mouth. Okay, so she's turning slightly away, and that's why you're getting that shape of a shoulder. So the neck is bigger, and that's where the shadow is, where the Adam's apple is going to be. Okay, as you go down to the shoulder blades. So these are the shapes of a hair in the background, and the way I like the way this comes down and then it just hangs like that. Yeah. Now what we need to do is draw it in pen. Alright. And once you get rid of the lines, you can still see you'll still see the pen mark. So I draw around her eyebrows like that. I draw the top eyelid. Go over your charcoal. It will go through, honest. Don't draw the circle. Top eyelid, pupil and iris, thickness of the eyelid and the eyebrow. I don't really need to look at the image because if you've got everything in the right place, it should look right. The only thing that makes a nose protrude is the light on this side, yeah, and the tip. So we've got a slight angle for the nostrils there, and then we've got the shape of the nostrils on each side. You can hardly see this one actually. And then you get your filtrum, which is the U shape that takes you to the middle muscle on the top lip, and then you've got the two other muscles. You can give her a smile, just turn the corners of her mouth up, and that gives you this line. So you've got the middle muscle, corners of her mouth, and goes to there. Don't draw a line at the corners of her mouth. You won't see, you'll just see this shadow and the line just about in the middle. That's the shadow underneath the bottom lip that makes it protrude. Then we get the neck. So it's quite a simple line. Alright, so we're coming down here, curving, going into the chin, straight across here. Just the same on this side. You've always got a chance to change it because you're going to be painting the background. And then I'm just sketching out the shape of her hair. Alright, on the head. So I've got this lovely shape. And then the curl, things like that. And then coming down to her eye, like that. And the shadow on the eye and the cheekbone. And through this into the neck, that's coming down there, and then you get this other shoulder going off. We've got this lovely curls on these side, this side. Yeah, that's going off the picture slightly, and then that's coming up here. And we've got some lovely shadow on the forehead. So hopefully I've got a little bit of a line there where the bottom eyelid meets, and in here we've got the tear duct. You can put it in if you like, but don't draw the bottom eyelid. And then the top eyelid overlaps the bottom eyelid. It's quite a dark shape. So we're going to use some tissue paper, and you can just literally rub it out. You know. We've also got a rubber to get rid of this. Some of the more stubborn bits. And so you're just left with a pen mark. So from a distance it's just a pen mark. Okay? And you're just left with the features. A simple line all around the head telling where the features are and where one thing finishes and another thing starts. And that's all it's about really. You need to know where the hair finishes and things like that. Okay? So that is the tip of the nose where the light's going to be, slightly darker on this side. So I'll use a rubber. You won't get it all off, but we can get a majority of it off. But it doesn't really matter because you're going to be rubbing out the lights. So if we get this, you see, you get back to just having a pen. The hair's not bad because it's going to be dark paint, right? Darker paint, like that. And you're just left with this simple, get rid of the bags. You don't want bags, do you? No, not yet. Get rid of the bags. Have a look at the face now and you think it looks, you know, it looks like the eyes are in the right position, the nose, the mouth, whatever. That's all we're after. Forget about the spots, not the spots, the freckles. Forget about the freckles. Alright, and yeah, we're still going. Good. Just give me a thumbs up now and again if we're still going. So I know. It might not be saving. I don't know. I'll have to check later. Alright, so that's lovely. Now we're going to mix some paint. Now this is the bit where you're much better if you're in your studio to put it on the floor, actually. So you can just slop the paint on. But what I've only got one brush today, so I'm going to have to use this. And you always start with the warmest colour, okay? So I'm just going to slap some warm colours on. And the next warmest colour is burnt sienna, okay? Lots of water with this, alright? Keep it very transparent. You don't have to have it, you can put some in a hair as well. You can kind of just splatter it. And then we're going to use some alizarin. So alizarin is this side really, so it's a lot cooler. We've got these shadows, go over our eyes, alright? Keep the light on keep the light shining on. And then we're going to use a bit of blue as well, because that's a nice dark tone. Again, we can use it for some of the hair, like this. We can turn the board around, you might not see bits of it, but I'm just going to turn it around so I can do a bit of blending. Like this. This is what you do when you're doing charcoal, see? So you can let some tones blend. I've also got some purple. Now the purple one, I've also got some green. It's going to be this lovely tone against a hair like that. It's going to blend and rub, and don't worry too much about that yet. We can turn it the other way, and then we'll go into it with a bit darker colour. So this is a bit of, so look at your picture, you've got these lovely shapes of a hair, like that, around, top of the head, all over the picture, doesn't matter. Take the picture off when you do that. Just take out anything that's too runny and just have a nice flat tone, okay? You can get a smaller brush, use some blue, I've got a bit of green as well, okay? Use some water, and then over this side I'm just going to drop that in. It's all over the face now. I can remember what it looks like. Drop that in and let it run into the darker shapes around the head. Alright? This doesn't matter. So that's the fun bit. If you want to do the fun bit, like I said, here we've got these really nice warmer tones, and then it's slightly darker on this side because of it's in the shadow. So if you want to put these shadows in like that, and you can even put the shape of a hair, underneath. Just softening some of these runs, because sometimes they leave a line that's very difficult to remove. Alright, the best thing to do, get your hairdryer, roll it through this lens again, yeah, get the hairdryer like that. Pick up a few blobs. Do want some of the runs. Yeah, that's all of it. We've got more freckles now. Right, and we can go a lot darker with the hair later, but we're just going to start to look at the tone layers. So I've got a small, like I said, a small brush. Look at the picture, and where we've got some of these darker tones, like especially inside the eyes, the bit just under that bottom eyelid where you're getting that. Blend it as well, so use your brush, take the excess moisture off, just blend it. So you get these purple shapes under the eyes because they're in shadow, aren't they? So you just draw, I'll just paint the shadows. And then we've got the side of the nose, which is quite dark here, coming down there as well, into a cheekbone. The top lip, there's a lot of dark there, so I'm just going to blot that in with a bit of alizarin again. And I don't have it to be too dark yet. Because it's like watercolour, we're building up from dark to light. Okay. What we will do is put in, get a bit of blue, less water now, because you don't want it running as much, and put that with for the eyebrows because they're quite dark, so we just drop that in this shape, yeah, and the same over here, like that. Now, if you want to go darker in other places, so we can have some purple. So because we've got this lovely kind of light, I'm going to use the side of my brush as well, and it picks out the side of a cheek here. It's the dark shape which blends into you can either do it like that, you can have it just splatter it on like that and just let the runs do a lot of the work, yeah. So that's the top of her shoulder, see, like that, and this is another bit coming out from the back of her head, and blend it. So we can use the same tones. I can use a bit of green and blue. And again, we've got this really nice curl coming over from the forehead. That's coming this way. And I've got this coming out like that. It's nice and dark on top of the head, really. And then at the sides, we can just add a bit more water to it so you get these splattering bits. Okay. And then from here, you got a shadow. So when you put the shadow in, we can do it with alizarin or sienna. So it's coming from there and then it's coming along the forehead. Okay, just these shapes. Don't let it run a long way. Like I said, I've used the hairdryer. It'll stop it running a bit. So on the other side, we can do the same. Got a really nice dark where I've got the green, and then that goes into a cheekbone. Okay, and that comes out here, like this. And I've got a nice dark here. What I want to do is keep some of this yellow, like that, just to give me some shapes. Nothing too. You could use things to create textures if you like. A lot of the drips. You can rub out some of this. Don't worry about it. Alizarin. Again, under the chin. Adam's apple, yeah, and then we can blend that in just to give you a shadow on the neck, like that. Okay, and stand back. Use the hairdryer. Things like that, okay? You get some lovely shapes just by using the nail or the back of the brush. Just to give you some background tone. You can paint them as well after. I just want to stop some of the runs in the forehead. I can do a lot of glazing afterwards as well. So now I've got my damp cloth. Quite clean actually, because we don't want it to be too mucky, else we'll be putting dirt on it. Look at your picture, start at the top and remove the colour. Okay, so the emitted lamp. So remove the colour by looking at the forehead and then taking the light or the paint off where you're getting the highlight on the forehead. Coming down this side. Okay, and then it's always darker, a little bit darker. It's lighter above the eyebrows there, as it comes out a little bit. We get reflected lights under the eyes. So although it's still cool, it's a reflection, and inside that shape, and then you get a light around the top eyelid like that, and the light in her eyes. So you can use the cloth just to remove the colour. Like that. I'm going to darken those in a bit, and then right in the corner we've got a light stripe just under the bottom eyelid, and then it goes a little bit lighter in there. Don't want to go too dark, too light. So over this side, more of the white because the light's coming from this direction. Although I've spoiled my picture. And you're also getting a little bit of light here around the nose, which blends into the rest of the cheek. You see? We're going to glaze a bit of that. Under the nose, you can glaze that as well. And then your philtrum comes down to your top there like that, and up to the other side, across the top of the mouth. Lovely light on the top, that triangle. This side's going really light inside. Take some light off on the eyeball, if you like. I don't know what colour her eyes are, but we can give her different colours. That is the light on the bottom eyelid. That's why I say don't put a full line on the bottom eyelid. You know, you should be wearing mascara, but you know, you can also get a little bit of light. So when you're doing the eye now, I'm just rubbing out the light bit at the bottom, because that's going to be the colour of the eye. We've got a little bit of tone just here at the side. This is the distance between her eyelid and the corner of the eye, can you see? So that's the cheekbone, and then the cheekbone comes in. Everybody's face is made up the same. So you've got a little bit of light here going up into there, and then we soften that because that's going to go a lot lighter. And she starts to kind of appear from the picture, which is what we want. So this is it's not as light, but it's cooler as well because we've got some of that alizarin in there, slightly darker here on the nose. I'm going to glaze that again later, like that. So these textures actually look a bit strange at first, and then you stand back and they just become one. Bottom lip, light, remove the light, damp cloth, yeah? And then the chin, you see what I mean about the chin? Got a lovely light there which blends in to the rest of the mouth. Because I haven't put any line there, I've got a lovely softness around the mouth. I take the jaw, do the jawline. Yeah. Don't forget, you're trying to create something that's aesthetically pleasing. I'm not doing a picture for Christmas or anything like that. It's just my version of this young lady who's actually volunteered to sit for us today. Yeah. Top of her eyelid, corner of the eye. You start to see the structure of her head coming out. And then we can paint it around. I'm going to put the eyes in a bit. So this side, I've got some reflected light just on the cheek, see, which is about there. And then here, I've got some more light, which is hitting the cheekbone. So we just take that cheekbone down there, like that. And then that goes into the top of the mouth. So that little bit of a shadow there, leave it. And leave this shape at the top of the mouth there. The corners of your mouth, you get a nice softness as well. Just change this a bit and make it bigger. So I get the jaw. I'm going to take that in a bit. You can see how you start seeing where some things are not symmetrical. You've also got a nice reflected light on the neck, which is there, and then here, this side of the neck. If you want to do the neck, that is. So it's a little bit lighter there. I know I've got some rooms there, so it looks like she's melting and melting. That turns into the light on her. Oh yeah, light here, light there, flat forehead, more or less. And we'll glaze it a bit more. Smaller brush now, as well. For the I'm going to do the eyes actually. Smaller brush, pointy one, or I'll get me a very small one. We can find it. There you go. So this I'm going to mix some blue, no water, blue and red, or you can mix green and red, okay. So the pupil, we know, is a very dark spot, just above the eye, top eyelid, it's very dark, yeah. Then we got a lovely ring around the iris, you see. So I'm not using black, I'm just using two colours mixed together. That's the top eyelid overlapping. It actually blends into the eye though. A bit of a dark tone there, and then the other side of the ring around the iris. You can take colour off as well. Do the other one, make sure she's not scanning. Top eyelid. She's going to look straight ahead. That she should do. Okay. Shadow. Something like that. Very clever, 80. Oh, there he did it. Oh, he's got the money. I always put the shadow at the top and then the kind of ring around the iris there. So she's looking at him. She's got yellow eyes at the moment. And then we've got a shape from here under that bottom eyelid and the dark shadow of the eyelid. Alright. And like I said, I'm just going to take this in a bit to straighten it up because it's a similar shape to this here. Alright. I'm going to use a little bit more alizarin and then put in the top lip. So we've got this really nice shadow in the corners of your mouth, which is a bit of alizarin and some blue or green, anything. Just make the corners of the mouth slightly darker, then blend that into the rest of the muscle there. And the middle of the mouth is going to be dark, like that. Okay, so that's coming over there, and then we've got the line of the bottom eyelid. I've also got the eyebrow, which wants darkening, like this. And it's also dark in here, so I want to put the top eyelid in there. Same over here. Put the top eyelid in. Yeah. Nice dark iris as well. Hopefully she'll keep looking at you. You can put the nostrils in if you like. She's got quite wide nostrils, hasn't she? Looking at it. We'll make a nice one, which are reflected lights. So we'll come down, we got the shape of a jaw, goes in, and then we get this neckline. When we start to paint things around the head though, I don't want them to be too obvious. I want it to be drips and runs and whatever. Okay, we're still on. Yeah, good. Let's have a drink. Stand back. Great. So, let me cloth again. Cheekbone. It's tactile stuff, so the more you press on, the more you take off. It's just like using pastel. So we'll take that into the nose. So there in the bridge of your nose is usually lighter. I know I can't see mine now because it's I spoiled it all. And then this nostril just disappears into the shape around the nostril. It's quite light. You won't be able to see it. To do any detail, just sticking my finger in the tip of the cloth, like that. See? So the nose starts to protrude, and that's what I'm after. Like that. And then the light inside of her eyes. So not much for contrast. A little bit of light near the side of the mouth, and then that top muscle just brings out the top lip. And the filter, that U shape. Keep the bottom lip nice and light, corners of the mouth nice and light because they're blending. It gives you a nice softness there. Both sides, and then blend that in. Forehead, if you want to just take more off, you can glaze as well, but let's take a little bit more off. Then I'm going to use the glazing brush, which is it's actually a nylon brush, yeah? And we're just going to go back into this because it's still dark in there and bring it down. So this is just glazing an area, you see? Same over here, so we're just glazing under the eye. Glaze means a little bit of paint, a little bit of water, so you can actually see through the pigment. So that's why glaze is a glaze. And if you put glazes on, you can actually take the paint off as well. Okay. So under the nose here, it's quite dark, just the tip, and then we get this shadow. There's a bit of a shadow there in the nose, like that. Soften them, like a soft shadow. Keep that a little bit lighter. The light captures it. Again, we got a hair. I'm going to go a little bit darker here, some bluey green. So, trying to use the side of the brush, mainly because I don't want to put in hair, if you know what I mean. I don't want to put in a big line for her hair. I'm just looking at the shapes around the curls in her hair, like that. And they're quite dark and big, aren't they? So I've got these lovely dark shapes, like coming, making negative space between that and the background, you see. So we can do a lot of splattering if we wanted. But like I said, just be careful. Blend it, take that up there, because that's the forehead, run into your forehead. A bit more dark here, and then we've got these lovely dark shapes coming out. Forget I haven't used any white yet. No. Over this side, beautiful shadows on the hair. You can use warms as well. You know? This is sienna. I'll just stick to one colour. Use some sienna for glazing to dirt and things. The head becomes, the main part is the features. Okay. So get these lovely curls in. That's just going that way, one's going this way. Shapes. So now we can give her some colour. I've got some white actually. White paint. Gallery acrylics. All of it, yeah. White pigment. The only trouble with using white pigment is you start to lose the transparency. But I do want to get these eyes right, so it's got little dots of white, and then it's light over here on both eyes. We can give her blue eyes, so what's the purple then? Or we can give her brown eyes, it doesn't really matter. So if I do use blue, quite a bit of white, some ultramarine blue, like that. Just to give me this transparent colour at the bottom, like that. Then we've also got some light here as well, which is there, a little bit here. Okay, you can mix the white to bring out some of this top eyelid, or you can just leave it coming off. We can mix the white with the alizarin as well to give you these lovely reflected lights underneath. Not a lot of pigment, more white. But like I said, once you start doing this, you lose the light. More white, CNS, whatever. look at the light on the filter, right there, top of the lip. Top of the top lip, eyebrow again. The bottom eyelid. Just in the corner of the eye you'll get a tear duct, which is a little bit of area where you get a glint of light, even though you can't probably see it, but it always works to put it in. Then you get the light just catching the bottom eyelid, like that, on both eyes. It disappears slightly here and then it comes out like that. Use some white, small brushless, and then from there it's the bottom eyelid. See, like that. The tip of the nose, put it on, take it off. Top of it, top lip. Lovely light, keep that lovely shape. We also use the white, or you can use some goulash to paint negative space. So you paint in the background around the head, yeah? Like that. So every now and again, we'll just paint the shape, which is the background shape, like this. Okay, the majority of this light, keep this, which I've missed out actually, just underneath that eyelid. There's a little bit lighter. This brush is rubbish. Yeah, a little bit darker, sorry. I've got some alizarin, because you get a line there, don't you, like that. So you put the shadow in, just on the eye. Don't give her bags, but we just put a shadow in, you see, like that. And we can also give her shadow here, glaze it, something like that, filter 'em. If you look at the middle muscle on the mouth, you're getting a bit more light here than you are on the other side, you see. So it disappears slightly there. Then we get some very strong dark, which is red and green. What time is it? Or red and blue. Corners of the mouth, very dark. Okay, still got the eyes. In the middle of the eye, you're going to get light tone, because it's a ball. So I know you say the eyeball is not white unless the light's shining right at it, but we are getting a bit of light tone there and there. Right. And then we can paint a negative space in the background of the hair and things like that. Little shapes, round things. And you can just carry on and on, really, to get some of the shadows in and the darks. Yeah. So if we use a bit more yellow and white, then not to do either too much opaque painting, but we can just kind of slap it on, slap it off. If you like slapping it on, taking it off. Because the hair, it's coming from kind of here down to that shape. It's quite dark. I like the yellow, so I don't want to lose some of the yellow. And keep the yellow. Bottom lip. Not use that brush again, it's rubbish. Somebody give me that. Yeah. Bottom lip. Again, it's quite dark on this side, and then it gets a bit darker in the middle. You can just use some alizarin. The shadow underneath, quite shadowy, isn't it? Again, a bit of purple. If you do it too much, She looks older. Keep it simple. Take that into there. Blend it. Keep the cloth as clean as you can. As you eat, this shadow on the face, quite a dark shadow here. You can put it on and just blend it, you know, just to bring out certain things. A bit more purple, green or whatever. So all your cooler, darker tones are for picking out negative space, right? And we can darken things or lighten things. That goes off the picture. I don't tend to do background colour on this. I just tend to kind of glaze things in if you want to. We can rub all that out if you want to. Yeah. It's got a few spots now with it. Well, they can be part of speculoos. So yeah. I've got a nice light on the nose, I've got a nice light on the nostrils, and then it goes up the nose, filter, cheekbone, corners of the eye, of the light, there. Soften things as well. Cheek. So it's all about transparency really. Nothing too thick in the features. Keep the transparency. Kind of like that yellow there, so I can actually see in the background, if it was any, so you can see the light through the hair. This is the background shirt. Just brings out the cheekbone. Feel white. And then blend that into the shape. Right, we'll give it some green eyes, I think. I put blue on, but I think I'll change them to green slightly. Yellow over blue gives you green, doesn't it? You can use compressed charcoal. We do varnish them afterwards as well, brings out the dark. I can go in with compressed charcoal in the eyes, especially. Which is dry. Missed a bit of a shadow with it. Just at the side of a nostril here, you got a nice dark shadow. goes into her nose as well. Little things, little things. So if you don't like this method, don't do it. If you want to learn something, have a go. Different. Compressed charcoal. So the eyes, especially the top eyelid, nice and dark. I'm not going to black paint, but I'm going to use black pastel or compressed charcoal. Again, just around the iris. This makes the eyes really stand out. Pupil, top eyelid, iris. If you go over anything, you can always put it back. Corners of the mouth. Middle muscle. Nostril. You can put, I'll just take this in a bit. Get the shape of the face. Blend it. Bring a nice negative there, which I kind of like. Which is a hair, on this side as well, so that's quite nice. To bring out a cheekbone. Eyebrows, a little bit darker. Not tattooed on, anyway. Some of the hair, and then we can use some more paint. For anything like highlights. Yeah, splashes. Bit of white mixed with your paint will allow you to splatter. Yeah, like that. Some like lovely light. You can paint the negative again in the background. Anything you want. Again, because it's acrylic, it's gonna. You can use the gouache. You can also go about these. So if you've got too many drips, you don't like drips, yeah, kind of like them. I'm just going to go this side. It gives you a lovely kind of negative space. It's a simple shape around the head. It's still there, but they disappear in a bit. Shoulder blade, blend that in. Take a bit of this. Alright. If it's hard rubbing out, just although I like that purple, it's a happy accident against the yellow. Time is it? Well, I've done well there. Thought I was going to be a bit just for time today. few curls. Excuse me. Nothing too obvious. Again, if you have some kind of liquidy, is it paint, you just put it on and let it run. So it creates these textures. If you woke up with a haircut like this, I'm going back to barbers. You don't have to do that, you can just get rid of some. If you think it's creating something else in the background. You alright? Negative space. Tie up to okay, so probably, I know you're saying, can we do a freckles? I'm terrified actually. Go with freckles and splattering. You have to control it. A bit more light on a cheek and a nose, because this side will be a bit lighter. Okay, reflected lights just under there, with the eyebrow. Catching some of this. So I'm back. I think I'm going to leave it. Some hair coming out like that. And little bits of negative space. Sometimes I like to follow a route that the paint is going in, because you get these zigzag shapes like that, yeah? And just follow it with your charcoal. It's quite interesting actually. Isn't it? Yellow and black's quite nice together as well. I'll just take that in a bit. Right. Finish off, last thing you put on is the pure whites, really. I'm just going to put more in her eyes because it's gone a bit pale. Like that. Blob there, bit of light here, nice and bright there, bit of greeny blue. Top lip. that up. Just carry the yellow on from somewhere else if you want. Yeah. So you get this lovely shape. And then same over this side. And some of the hair over here is quite light. The light's catching it. Little areas, nothing too fussy. Okie doke. You can carry on forever with this one. Very dry. Brownish it. Get rid of any drips you don't want. Turn it to the wall actually. Pour the paint. Freckles. Why have I not done freckles? So we'll just get a brush. Well, I'm going to have a practice first. Okay. Have a little practice first. On a piece of paper or here. That does it, doesn't it? So we get a nice brush, a little bit of alizarin, touch of blue, dab it, have another practice, and then speckle. Speckle. Beautiful. Yeah, just keep practicing. You can't paint them. You have to splash them on. Don't you? Nice start there. And then stop. Dead. Never gonna go again. The lightest highlight. Yeah, always get one on the blob of the nose. And the top of the lip. Filter. And that's it, really, for now. There we go. Let's take some tape off. Made a mess of a picture, isn't it? You won't see any difference here because it's white underneath and it's white on top, so take tape off anyway. Just line across the top of her head with the hair finishes. I don't know if so why have you not done the rest of her hair? I don't like something. She's got freckles on her chest now. I don't really like it. It makes you focus on the features and the eyes especially. So, you know, it's just personal choice. You want to do all the head, it's fine. And it's about colour, so we want to keep that lovely colour. It's got a big freckle there, got rid of that. Well, I might finish a bit more and then put it on. But we'll just see if it's tape now. Thank you for watching. See you on, well, Monday if you're going to Greenmount, Tuesday if you're going to Lawrence, and Wednesday if you're going to the water club class. But the next online one is Tuesday afternoon. Thank you. Bye.